we know that the current continuous flow pumps that we use on routine daily cardiac surgery are fine. They're good, but they're not perfect. We know that our mortalities are reasonable. But now finally the focus is shifting on the morbidity of cardiac surgery, such as the morbidity associated with acute kidney injury. There is clear data suggesting that renal dysfunction, even if it's mild during the index hospitalization, impacts the long-term mortality of patients. And that's cost. It's cost in many ways, right? So I think if we have a procedure that, if we can do the same procedure, yet do it better, and have less morbidity, then by far that system is going to be adopted. The fact of the matter is that the blood vessels are not just a pipe, that they respond to the dynamic energy that's delivered to them by a pulse. At the cellular level and at the molecular level, they respond to these. And when you have continuous flow, that response is abrogated. That response is not there. Actually, we have evidence of that. When you lose this kind of regulation that is a physiologic regulation that the body has because you have non-pulsatile flow, bad things can happen. The idea of pulsatility obviously is not something new. And when I started looking at this, you can go back to the 1900s, and there are these smart, amazing scientists who've done single organ perfusion models and have actually shown that pulsatile flow improves renal function, increases urinary production, reduces the number of hormones that are bad for the kidneys compared to continuous flow. This is in the early 1900s. So there's plenty of evidence that pulsatile flow is good. Ventriflow is coming in at the right time because the discussion is no longer focused on mortality, is also focusing on the morbidity of the operations we do. Cardiac surgery has changed dramatically in the 20 years that I've been involved. I mean, we've really in a phase that the vast majority of the patients who have cardiac surgery are incredibly complex. And the question is, okay, if my surgeon is the best surgeon in the world and is going to fix my heart, that's just one part of the equation, right? It's not the entire equation. But if my surgeon says that, listen, I can not only do your operation perfectly, but I can also use this modality that's going to reduce the potential of you having kidney failure at the end of the operation, or having gastrointestinal problems, or having cognitive impairment in your cerebral circulation. Are you going to do this? Are you going to take this as for yourself? And your answer is going to always be yes, right? If you come out of an operation and your heart surgery has been successful, but yet you end up 5 years from now on dialysis versus you don't. I mean, that's a big difference. The Ventriflow system is a complete, unique platform that has the potential to revolutionize how cardiac surgery is done. Nothing has come along that has been of that caliber in the last 3 decades, if not longer. Physicians are primed that pulsatile flow is better. The problem is that we've never had the technology. So people have just kind of gotten used to using what they're using and focusing on the technical aspects of surgery, not on the modalities that we're supporting the patient during the surgery. This is really the first time that a device has become available that is technically easy to integrate into the system, that can actually generate a true pulsatile flow, not a gyration or a cyclical contour of the blood pressure, but an actual pulsatile flow that delivers kinetic energy to the circulation and takes advantage of, what we term systole and diastole, the expansion of the blood vessels and the relaxation of the blood vessels and all the other biological things that follow with that. So for the first time, a company has come along that has designed a device that can actually generate the same type of pulsatile flow as if the heart was still in the circulation. And the question really becomes, well, okay, you have this pump. Can it be used in that system or not? And I had my doubts when I met Doug. I thought that the technology sounds great, looks great, it works well in a, in a test tube, but is it going to work well in an actual system? So when I was at Cleveland, we started embarking on these discussions about first, does this system work at all, or are we just taking Doug's words for it? And second, finding out, well, how do we actually measure the impact? How can we say that pulsatile flow is better? And what I can tell you is that, for example, integration of this pump into the cardiopulmonary bypass circuit was very easy. It was, for the perfusionist to use this pump instead of the roller pumps that they'd been used to for the last 20 years was very easy to integrate it into the system. For me as a surgeon, I kind of looked at it because one of my concerns was, we're doing surgery and this pulsatile pump continuously is in our face with this cannula moving back and forth. And it wasn't the case. It was a very gentle, smooth transition. And I remember, Doug says this story all the time, but I remember when I came to the operating room, I was busy that day. I had asked them, I said, call me when you're ready. So I'm not kind of waiting around in the animal experiments. And they called me when they were ready. And when I went in and I asked them, I said, well, when are you going to go on bypass? They said, oh, we are on bypass because I did what I always do when I go in the operating room. I look at the monitor and I look at the blood pressure and the contour of the blood pressure, and I know where we are with the patient. And it seemed like they were already on bypass, but because they were on the ventroflow, it didn't look like they were on bypass. So I think that that's where really the importance of this technology comes, is that for the first time now, we're going back into creating a physiological pulsation that we're all meant to have all the time. We're not meant to have continuous flow. The ventroflow system right now has a very, very unique niche that no one else is in that space right now. Even the other companies that are trying to generate pulsation, they're trying to generate pulsation within a continuous flow platform, not within this kind of a platform. So, I've always hoped that Doug can get that across to the investors, that yes, it's an uphill battle, but we are very unique in what we offer. No one else has this technology. No one else can offer this kind of pulse formation on cardiopulmonary bypass. And I do believe that once we get this in, we will then, all the clinicians who are interested will then do all the studies that are necessary to show the advantages of of pulsatile flow versus continuous flow. And as I said, if you have one endpoint, and that is AKI, and you show that you actually reduce AKI, that's it. He's taken off in a way that I truly believe that actually, he wouldn't have to worry about it because the other bigger companies are going to be interested in that market. The slogan that has been used for the device, blood flow the way it should be, is extremely appropriate. We've never been able to do that because of technological restraints, and for the first time, ventroflow is going to allow us to do that. So that's where the major advantage of the device is going to be. It's novel technology. Yes, it's uncharted territory, but again, if we reflect back on 100 years of experimentation, always pulsatile flow has been the winner, always. I've never believed that one thing is the answer to every problem. I do believe that this will at least mitigate many of the things that we see in the postoperative period. So I think, to be honest with you, if all of what I believe is true, which is that pulsatile flow matters, that this is a revolutionary device. This is going to change the way we do heart surgery. I guarantee you that in 10 years from now, this is going to change everything about heart surgery as it becomes adopted for everyone. if pulsatile flow, which I believe is the holy grail of supporting patients, proves to be beneficial, then you're going to start seeing everybody wanting to use it. Everybody. And will it become standard of care? I wouldn't be surprised. Why is continuous flow cardiopulmonary bypass the standard of care now? We don't have any other way. We either do it or we don't do it. So it's a standard of care. So that's why I think that for the first time, there is a device that is incomparable to any other technology that we have for cardiopulmonary bypass at the moment that can potentially revolutionize how we do cardiac surgery and become the standard of care. The early adopters of this technology are plenty out there. They're not going to care about the cost of the device. They're going to care about outcomes. And once we get to the point that we've demonstrated the outcomes have improved, then we're going to be on that, rising part of the curve. Investment in this technology eventually is going to help millions of people by reducing their morbidity. And the discussion that you and I had today, I haven't practiced this, honestly. This was my true passionate statements. I have no vested interest in ventroflow other than the fact that as Doug and I kind of talked back and forth, there are hundreds of emails about these concepts that, it's become my passion. I don't gain anything other than the fact that I truly believe that we may be on the path to change how cardiac surgery is done 5 years from now. And this statement I actually made, it's not a statement that I'm just making to you. I had to present at the board of Cleveland Clinic once, and I was requesting funding to do some research with the pump before I left. And this was the exact statement I made to them. I said, I don't want you to just look at this as yet another device, yet another kind of playing around. This device has the potential of changing how we do cardiac surgery 5 years from now. It is that revolutionary. It is that new. It is that, if there was an impact factor, it is a very high impact technology. And that's where we need to start looking at it. That's why the excitement around the device is there, and the investors need to be excited about that. The fact that we are not competing with Medtronic. They're going to be competing with us. I have a feeling. They're going to look at this 2 years from now and they say, if we don't jump on this technology, we're the ones who are going to be behind. So it's a very disruptive technology. It's not just innovative. I think it's disruptive. And for the investor, that's where the money is. It's not more of the same. It's something novel, something disruptive, something innovative that will change how we do it.